Ladies and gentlemen, this is Closer Conversations. My name is Austin Glazer, and today I'm joined by Kevin Kochiss, the owner, founder, CEO of KMK Strength and Conditioning and Revive. And with that being said, I couldn't be more excited to welcome such an incredible person here, but also my friend. So, Kev, how we doing?
I'm doing great, man. First podcast, very excited.
Yeah? You really, you a little nervous, or?
No, I'm all right.
Okay, cool. Well, Kev, you know, all these podcasts, they start exactly the same, they end the same, and the way they usually start and they end is, the first question is, what's your definition of success?
So my definition of success to me is you got to be happy and you got to love what you do, because if you're not happy and you don't love what you do, you're never going to be successful. And my also definition of success is you do have to work for yourself. If you work for someone else, you're only making someone else's dream a reality, and you're not, making your own dream a reality. So those are three big things that I consider to be successful.
So, and we're going to get very into that, but so break it down for us and those people at home. What do you do for a living?
So for a living, I am the owner and, like you said, CEO of KMK Strength and Conditioning, and we just opened Revive. So what this company is, we primarily train high school and collegiate athletes in strength and conditioning, and then our recovery center, which we just opened up, handles all stages of recovery. So we do IV therapy, cryotherapy, sauna, Normatec leg compression sleeves. We got the whole work. So we try to create an all-in-one performance center where we fit in training but also the recovery. So trying to make a one-stop shop for everything athletes. So.
And you've been doing a good job of it. So tell me your background. How'd you get into it?
So my background was I was always an athlete, always played sports growing up. And whether I wasn't always the best on the field, but I always loved training the most. I would always outwork better people than me. So I really loved the training aspect. And after college, or even before college, I, kind of asked myself, I was like, what do I want to do in life? And then, back to the question of how you be successful is like, what do you love to do? And I loved working out. And it wasn't just working out, it was just, training for something. I always needed a goal, and I always wanted to figure out how to get there. And that's when I just loved training, and I had a huge passion for it. So I just, became obsessed with it, dove into it, tried to go to all different routes of training. I did the strength and conditioning, I did the bodybuilding, I did the sports performance training, just so I could learn all avenues of training, and then I can kind of find my own niche in that and, put my own stamp on it. So
you're talking about putting your own stamp on something. So you kind of just dove into why personal training, but something I love about you is not only are you good at what you do, you're a businessman, right? And you think about opportunities and how you can capitalize on them. What do you think the opportunity that existed was that enabled you to be so successful at such a young age?
I think I'm just a risk taker. I think that's a big, huge quality in entrepreneurs these days. I feel like a lot of people don't, they always talk about, I want to do this, I want to do that. There's no urgency. There's no time, date set, and I want to do this by this specific date. We'll dive into it more, but, how we actually started Revive was, Austin and I and Keenan, our good friend Keenan, we, talked at a diner, and literally within 3 months after that breakfast, Revive was open and running. So once I have an idea in my head, I take action, and I just try to make it happen. And, a lot of people say I move too fast, but, I feel like that's the only way to do it if you want to become successful and get things done. So
yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, it's, for those who haven't seen it, which will probably be some of the people at home, I mean, I Revive is unbelievable. And it was funny just sitting at that breakfast. I remember what we got that day because we trained, and I asked you, I said, can I have this? And you said no, and you made me order egg whites with spinach. Yeah. And that was a special day, and I don't think I realized that at the time, but really so cool to see how full circle it's come in such a short amount of time, Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. So listen, you took a chance on yourself. You said you're a risk taker. How hard was it to leave being comfortable, making money, and then how hard is it to take that risk and be great?
Yeah, I mean, it's super hard. Like, every entrepreneur, I feel like, goes through the same emotions. Sometimes you have family, friends, everyone in your close circle, they only want what's best for you. So they're going to say, you have such a good job here. Because, I did have a good job at the time. I was a strength coach at Yale University, one of the top schools in country. And, I was happy doing what I love. But I couldn't put my own stamp on anything, and I couldn't, I was kind of like controlled by other people in what I could or couldn't do, and I didn't really have the freedom that I wanted, which goes back to, how what I think it takes to be successful. So, I think sometimes you try to psych yourself out a bit and say, maybe they're right, maybe they're this, maybe they're that, but there comes a point in time where you just kind of say fuck it, and you just gotta go for it. And if what's the worst case scenario that happens, even if you fail, you still got your family, friends, and support system that'll love you no matter what, even if you do fail. So the way I looked at it was kind of like, if I fail, I'll still have everything that I have now, so I might as well go for it. Only live once. So
yeah, absolutely. What was the hardest part? We asked the hard-hitting questions here.
Yeah, it's okay. No, they're good. They're good questions, making me think. The hardest part was, I think, just not like, a lot of people think businesses make money right away, and I was making good money at my other job, but just like being okay with like, hey, it's gonna suck for like 6 months, maybe a year, like. You're going to get in debt. Like, that's, I feel like, the hardest part, and that's why people quit so easily, because they're like, oh, it's not going well the first couple weeks or months. Like, I'm going to shut it down. Like, you got to give it time, and like, you got to give your heart and soul into it, and you got to commit 2 to 3 years and then watch your like baby grow, and you can't just like quit after 1 or 2 months. And it's hard for people. It's like, once you're in it, like, there's no way to describe it until you're like actually in it. Like, you put all your eggs in one basket and you just go for it. There's only a plan A, not a plan B, and that's how you kind of got to live it. You can't be like half in, half out. And I see a ton of people start businesses where they're half in, half out, and they do it for a month or two, and then they're like, oh, it's not really working, and then kind of go do something else. I think it's like a pandemic nowadays, honestly. They don't give it enough time for it to grow.
It's admirable, man. You have a lot of admirable qualities about like just entrepreneurship. Forget the gym stuff for a second. Just the way you think, the way you build things. It's very admirable in the sense of what you're creating day over day, and you're putting in the work, right? You're not having anyone else do the work for you. You want to see your dreams. You're turning them into reality, which is very cool.
Appreciate it.
So I asked you what the hardest thing was. What was the easiest part? What was the easiest part about creating your dream?
Okay, easiest part was like bringing the team on board, because I've been building relationships since I was a young kid. When I created this vision, I wanted people that I trust, around me, and I wanted like more of like a family setting. I only really hired people that I trust and liked as a person. So I think that was the easiest part. Like, okay, once I go for it, I already know who I'm hiring. I don't even have to ask him twice. He's going to be with me. He's been my brother for forever, and let's do this together. So that was the easiest, I would say.
That's funny. I feel like a lot of people would say that's the hardest. A lot of people would say that. Like, I know for me, when it came to hiring help, there's so many things that you look for. You look for someone that thinks like you, acts like you. And I know for me, it took me over 6, 7, 8 months to find someone good that could be great on my team. And it's good to hear that was the easiest part. Mm-hmm. So we'll touch up on a little bit more about that later, about building another team if you have to do that, how hard that would be. All right, random question. Ready? Here we go. 3 people, dead or alive. Who are you having for a nice dinner? And also, what are you eating for dinner?
All right, obviously it's going to be healthy eating.
Loose. Healthy eating? Are you kidding me? You can have dinner with whoever you want.
Steak,
you're going to go.
All right, steak dinner, obviously.
What kind of steak?
Sirloin steak. Got it.
No porterhouse. Okay.
Yeah, and then honestly, if I had to have dinner with 3 people, they're not famous by any means, but they're 3 of my biggest mentors. Maybe listen to this, may not, but I'd probably have dinner with Mark Cirilli, Rob Manning, and Nick Morris. They've seen my vision grow from the beginning. Never asked for anything in return. Always gave me, advice on every single venture, and they've really been like the biggest help for me. I wouldn't pick anyone famous. They've been with me since day one, so that would be my steak dinner with all 3 of them, and that would be actually a really sick podcast if that went down. It would just the conversations that they talk about, life experiences. I mean, I hope like we could just film that one day, and it would be amazing. So.
Dude, so many things what you're saying is so admirable. I think that if I had 3 people for dinner, I don't think I'd pick anyone I know. I actually know I wouldn't pick anyone I know. I don't know who I'd pick, though, honestly. But you're not interviewing me, so I don't have to answer that. What's been your greatest accomplishment to date, Kev?
It's yet to come. Like, you want me to say like for now? My
biggest I said to date, okay, so you have to answer it. You got to carry us 30 minutes here, so
Okay,
you know.
all right, yeah. I think Revive, just because a lot of people after opening their first business, they're kind of happy with it, settled. Okay, I opened up my own business. I'm good. I'm always thinking, now what? I did this. How can we improve this? Like literally constantly. As soon as I opened up, Revive, and we'll talk about this later, I was like, okay, what's after Revive? Like, how can we expand this to other states, across the country? I was never like, I actually didn't, I celebrated for maybe that night, and then I was like, all right, back to work. So I think my greatest accomplishment would be Revive, simply because usually after a person opens up a business, they keep that business for their lifetime. And I want to open up 5-10 more businesses in different areas. I don't also want to be closed down in just the health and fitness area. I want to go all different routes, because I feel like I can learn anything, because I'm, very motivated, and I love to learn. So, and I have great people in my corner. So I want to, do multiple stuff. So for now, that's the greatest, but big things in the works.
We'll get there. So you talk about, first off, when did KMK start?
It started February 1, 2020.
KMK opened February 1, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I didn't, it's funny, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I got it tatted right on my chest. So.
And you got the Revive thing on your arm, right?
I got Revive tatted too, yeah.
Nice.
So, my tattoos.
A lot more tattoos to come.
Yeah, they kind of just tell the story of, like, who I was and growing up and where I am today. I think that's, like, super important, so.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. That's so freaking cool, man. You made me lose my train of thought. That was such a good answer. So how have you grown the business so effectively then, in such a short amount of time?
Well, obviously the all people who work with KMK and anyone who's involved in it, word spreads really fast. They're the ones to be thankful for, and how the business grows so much. We have so many good people on staff that literally take care of everything, and they treat their clients like family. Above and beyond, they give the best programming, but they're also like there for after the gym, and I think when clients see that we're more of like a family, and we'll be there no matter what, even if someone stops training with us, we'll still keep up with them, text them, because we build a relationship. So I think building relationships with clients is the most important thing. Not worried about like sales or finance, stuff like that, because then people won't be with you for a while, but like we generally have good good-hearted people working at KMK, and that's what makes the business grow. So,
are you a reader?
Yes, love to read.
What's your favorite growth book?
It's so hard.
Because like the reason I'm asking that question, Kev, is I feel like a lot of what you've said so far, like you come from the strength and conditioning background, but you don't come from the business background, right?
Yeah.
And you grew a business almost overnight, like really, really quickly. And you learned that stuff on your own, right? Like you were strength and conditioning, but what you did is what's so admirable. You're running a business is what I'm trying to say. And it's more than just the strength and conditioning. And that's the thing that I'm trying to portray to those at home. Like if people could just get in your mind for a day, and I'm with you a couple times a week at this point, but if people could get in your mind and just see how you think, how you operate, like it's so much more than just a gym. It's like there's sales to it, there's opportunity to it, and you gotta capitalize. Like who taught you to be like that? Was there a sales book? Was there anything like that?
It wasn't really so many factors went into that. There's so many opportunities to learn. Literally like with Google, YouTube, I literally Googled, 5 tips to starting a successful gym business. I would literally watch videos day in, day out. Yeah, I read some books, but like actually hearing, speakers talk, going to seminars, like spending money on that. Just every single time I wasn't working, I was just like filling my brain up with knowledge. And I have like this hour in the day where I try to like just picture like what I want my life to be like. I just try to like set my phone on do not disturb, and I picture like, okay, like what would be the perfect perfect scenario, and it's almost like a daydream, but I'm just like focusing on like what I want, and I kind of like speak it into existence. We'll get to more in on that later, but definitely want to like dive a little bit into that too. So.
Oh, we'll get there, baby. Yeah. Don't you worry. We got it. Like I said, we got to fill some time up here.
Sounds good.
Favorite day that you like to work out? Like, what is your favorite workout day?
It's got to be chest day.
Why is it chest day?
Well, one, it's with you.
No, that's true.
It's just like there's something about just like especially sometimes when you don't have a spotter. It's more of like a life.
Like I might die.
Yeah, like I could die seriously. And it's just like you gotta go in 100%. You can't have any self-doubt. If you have any self-doubt, you're not getting the weight. So it's just like a great metaphor for life. And we always started on Mondays. just because it's a great way to start off the week. Like, look forward to it. From Saturday to Monday, it was just like, get hyped up for it.
You touch on something really funny, and maybe I'll have my friend Tony Peck make a nice clip out of this, because I think it's important that I have a clip made of every podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
You talk about mental, right? And I think, so for those at home, when I came to Kev, I wasn't even benching. I don't even think I was benching 135. I was probably benching like 110, 120. And as I worked my way up, I eventually got up to 225 and a little bit more than that, but I was at a plateau for so long, right? And because I'd get in my head and I would be like, I can't do it, I can't do it. And it's the same thing about opportunity. Opportunity doesn't grow on trees. You need to create opportunity. Opportunity never knocks, right? And if you're telling yourself you can't do it, then you can't. But if you're telling yourself, I'm going to do it, just like you told yourself, I'm going to open Revive and I'm going to make this place a success, you're going to do it. And I think that when you're working out, when you're running a business, when you're reading a book, whatever you're doing, when you're dieting, it's all about the mental mindset. Can I do this? Maybe. No, you can do this, and you need to stay positive, and you will do it. I think that that's so important. And for me, when I was trying to get past that plateau that I was at, it was all mental. I take the what do you think, the dumbbell? The bar. I take the bar down, and I drop it, and I think that until I blocked it out and I was like, I'm going to do this, then I did it, It wasn't even like a strength thing, because I had the strength. It was just like I was mentally not allowing myself to. The same way, I don't know when this is going to air, but the same way I have been in a position for a very long time, keeping it vague, and mentally told myself I was okay being there instead of allowing myself to grow and create and conquer, So I think that working out, to tie all of that long-winded answer together, I think that working out can be a metaphor for so much more, right? So
much more, yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing. And that's what you've helped me realize. I mean, that's why I got to do other workout days with you, though, because like all I enjoy is chest, and like I need to get the arms bigger and the belly the belly smaller, So, but yeah, man, working out is a beautiful thing. And especially if you think about it from a mental perspective, what it can do for you, it's huge.
Yeah. And what working out does mentally is it's just like, it checks yourself. Like if you're being lazy, you'll get not the result you're looking for. So then it checks yourself and say, okay, I need to pick my shit, like get my shit together, kind of deal. So it's like when someone has like a really good body, or they hit a goal that they really wanted to hit, they earned it. Like no one gave it to them. No, they weren't like born into it. Like they set a goal out. Every single day, consistency, like working out, so much consistency. Some people get in really good shape and fall off, really good shape, fall off. And when you stay consistent like that, it's such a metaphor for life. It's just like watching those daily motivational videos every single day, no matter what. I do it right as soon as I wake up. Don't look at my text messages or phone. Like I already have a daily motivation video that I, set to get my mind right.
Every day, same video?
Every day, same video.
Really?
Yeah.
You'll have to send it to me.
I will.
I will piggyback off on one thing, though. I think that consistency is the key to success for anything.
Yep.
Right? I think that, you complimented me on the way in about my social media. And the reason my social media has been so great lately is I'm consistent. I'm posting 3 times a week. I am utilizing my page that I've built over the years, and I'm trying to turn it into business. Same thing. Back when I was losing weight, when we first started, unfortunately I've fallen off a little bit, but back when we first started, I was so consistent with my diet.
Yeah.
Right?
To a T.
Right. And I was tracking everything. I mean, I'm trying, it's hard now because of all the business I've been building and being out every day, but that's not an excuse, right? Consistency is what makes successful people, and it's who has the hardest, sharpest mind is the one that's going to be the most successful. All right, so I'm running out of questions here. So Kev, we're going to go into it now.
All right.
What's next, baby? What are we doing next?
We're bringing KMK to Florida. That's what's happening. So,
tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, so we've had some really good opportunities where some schools have reached out. They've seen what we've done in Connecticut. And, we went down to pitch them. It was multiple schools in multiple different areas of Florida, Boca Raton and Miami. And they really loved what we had to say. And, it's a huge key to our business is getting the school contracts first, because once we get the school contracts, then it's like free marketing essentially, where we get a good basis of the kids get to know us. We get to know them, they trust us, and then we bring them to the gym, and then it all works, in ebbs and flows. But you need that contract with the schools first, and we got it in both. So
wait, time out. I'm pausing you for a second.
Yep.
For those at home, what does it mean to have a contract with a school?
Contract with a school is so they hire our trainers per diem for either a 2 to 3 year contract to train the entire teams at the school. Most of these schools that we're pitching are very expensive private schools, so they have their own weight room. So we go there, send a trainer out, they train the team, and essentially the strength coach there, he also works for this facility, and I'm there as well. So we get to know the kids. We bring them to our facility. Then they get individualized training, because at the school it's a big team. They can't really work on, if this person wanted to work on speed and this person wanted to work on the vertical jump, it's completely different. And the team would just do one simple workout. Not simple, but it would be like everyone's doing the same thing. So then they come back to our facility and they do individualized workouts, and they do the recovery. So once we have the school contracts, then it's a wrap, and then we just go from there. So
how do you get the school contracts?
You pitch the schools and say, this would immediately impact your school and higher your value as a school, especially because with these prep schools, it's like it's an arms race. Who can create more college athletes? That's in the prep schools these days, that's their biggest value, because if you're a parent and you're spending all this money on your kid to go to prep school, you hope that they play in college, right? So now strength coaches at the college level are coming down to the high school level in order to get to this opportunity. And then high schools are realizing this, like, wow, we need to hire a college level strength coach. We need to pay them. We need to give them what they deserve, because they've been there. They've been at the college level, top D1, and that's where our kids want to go. So they need to learn from experienced coaches. So we provide that. So when I pitch the school, I'm saying that, hey, we will provide you, 2 Division I college strength coaches teaching your high school athletes. On top of that, we'll do a partnership where any athlete from your school will have a discounted training session and recovery rates at our facility. That's like 5 minutes down the road. So that's how the whole business starts, and then it's really easy to multiply. So I don't think Florida is going to be our last KMK. I think we're going to go pretty much all over the country, because I think we have a really good idea of a one-stop shop. But gyms have tried to be a one-stop shop, but no gym has gotten into the schools, and that's what I think that separates us from other gyms or businesses like that. Is we're a face in the community with all these schools, and we're as one. So that's what kind of separates us. And then once we have that, it's a go. So
what's next?
So Florida is next, like I said. Are you saying after Florida?
No, how? Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, yeah. What's your next state target after that? Actually, I have a follow-up question to that.
California, probably after Florida.
6-hour journey. You're just going to be a journeyman, huh?
For a little bit. I think. We're diving into it, I guess. But after we open up the Florida location, I didn't take any investors from the first location. Didn't take any investors for the second location, putting all my eggs in one basket. And then after that, I'm thinking about, reaching out to a venture capitalist, and then, try to pitch the idea. So then we can open up, a ton of them, maybe franchise, whatever is best, best case scenario, to open up as many as possible, because I do really think we make a difference in people's lives. And obviously, business is about making money, but if you can create change, I think that's the most important thing, and you can make people's lives better, because and of service, and if you're a service to them and you're creating more value to them, I think that's the case. So
what's your favorite part of your job?
Just being with the kids. It's so fun. It reminds me of being in a fraternity, honestly. It's just it's a really brotherhood. It's just I goof around with them, but when it's time to work, it's time to work. And then I would say probably the greatest part is training them for months on end up until for this big state championship game. Then I go to the state championship game. I'm on the sidelines. I know all the coaches there, and then I watch them succeed. And then the parents are coming up to me, hugging me, and then a month later they get a college scholarship, and the mom calls me and whatever, is crying and stuff like that. There's no greater feeling than that. That has to be best feeling.
So in terms of the Florida move, what's next?
What's next with Florida? So
what's the timeline? How does it look? What's going on? How does this work for you?
I'm ready to move whenever. We have to find the right commercial spot. So, like I said, we have the schools. I can't name them yet. It's NDA. But so we have the schools, and after that, it's just finding the right location near the schools. To pretty much as soon as we find that, then I'll also buy property out there. I'll have trainers that are at the gym and other people working at Revive. We'll all live in one house, so I'll give them super discounted rate. It'll be a lot of fun time in people's lives. Like, we're all under the same roof. We're all building business together. And then in that, like, separate business, I also do a little bit of real estate too. So I'm creating value in the house, equity in the house, and I'm pretty much paying nothing in terms of monthly rent. So it'll cut my rent down, and that's the next move. So as soon as we find a commercial property, then I'm finding a house right next to it, live there, 6 months to a year, and then I'll flop back and forth to Connecticut and Florida. So,
boy. You are without a question the best person I've had on the podcast, man. No, I'm serious, Kev. You blow my freaking mind every day. The way you motivate me to think bigger every single time I talk to you. It just, I'm out of questions. So here's how we're gonna end this. We're gonna end this the way every single one of these ends. Kevin Kochiss, where do you see yourself in 20 years?
So I was actually talking to my friend Chris Kinney about this literally on our drive in, and I've talked to my friend Keenan about it. So what I want to do is hopefully I'll have enough money to step away from the day-to-day task, even though I love it. Bigger dreams, and I want to start like a venture capitalist group where we invest in entrepreneurs. So in how many years did you say?
20.
Okay. In 20 years, I want my job solely to be just investing my time, money, and energy into helping people grow their own businesses, because I don't think there's enough of that in the world. It's just like, school teaches you 9 to 5, this is what you're going to do. You need a master's degree. You need all this stuff. And they don't teach you about, like, all right, take an entrepreneurship class. Like, why don't you go interview someone that, has started their own business? Why don't you learn from them? Why don't you go have dinner with them? Why don't you go hang out with them? Like, keeping the circle like really positive and no negative. I mean, it's great. So that's where I see myself in 20 years.
Dude, thanks for joining us. Here we go. Here, I'm cueing the music. Ladies and gentlemen, today we were joined by Kevin Kochiss, and boy, oh boy, it was a blast. Till next time, folks, stay golden.